Welcome back to Hoochos. So today I've got a brand new systems design to show you. This is the round pipe Hooch adapter. We'll take a look at these a bit later. I'll have timestamps in the description of the video so you can jump ahead. We'll also be looking at hydroponic turmeric. We'll look at the progress on the hydroponic potatoes and the hydroponic wasabi. Let's go for a walk around the garden. So this is the rain gutter grow system. Now there's a lot going on here. I've just let the tomatoes take over the system. There are pumpkins throughout as well, and the hydroponic citrus is in the background there. But if you can see over here, we've got the hydroponic turmeric, which is in its own tub. It's died back almost completely. So we're gonna pull that out and harvest it. First, I'll just show you what's going on in the system. There's a lot of pest issues because obviously it's not enclosed and I've just let it run wild. So you can see here, we've got pumpkins all over these vines. Amongst the pumpkins, we've just got tomatoes growing. I'm not sure what type of tomatoes these ones are. They're not the ones I've got in the Dutch buckets. These are the same ones that I've got in the Dutch buckets, but as you can see, a lot of them are just rotting on the ground because I haven't got them up away from the pests, and the pests have just destroyed these tomato vines. I'm hoping to get a few like I'm getting from these ones come through to full maturity. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to get rid of most of these tomatoes. I might even do it today because they're just a vector for pests essentially. So over this side, I've had some volunteer cherry tomatoes pop up. They must have just been in some of the cocoa that I used from a previous grow. They're delicious. And they're just growing kind of nuts throughout this side of the system. Here is our turmeric. As you can see, the citrus I've actually needed to weigh down with cinder blocks to keep it from falling over. I'm going to need to repot that. And the problem I'm having with the pots and the cocoa is if they dry out, the cocoa weighs like next to nothing compared to soil. So they just topple over in the system. So I'm going to need to come up with a solution for that problem. So as you can see, the citrus is fruiting heavily. Down here we've got some fruits and over here as well. So for the little amount of maintenance that I've done on this system, I mean none, they've been doing really well. So this is the hydroponic turmeric. It died right back. I think the cold just made it retreat into its rhizomes. So that's literally just, you know, pulling out away from the bases like that. So I'm gonna remove this whole bucket bed and we'll have a look at what we've got. Lift it up. And you can see the roots coming out, going into what would have been the rain gutters. So let's push them back in. These are volunteer lettuce. They came from a lettuce that I just let go to seed in the beds. So you can just sort of let the systems manage themselves and they'll auto seed, I guess. I'll just put them aside. So I'm gonna save all this cocoa. I don't mind that there's weeds in it. I can always just pull the weeds out and we'll just save it. And once I set up the system again, then we can reuse this cocoa as it's perfectly fine. So I'm just looking for the rhizomes of the turmeric at this point in time. I seeded it probably only with 4 or 5 small rhizomes, so I honestly don't know what to expect to find. This is going to be just as interesting for me as it is for you. So we'll just remove the tops of this turmeric. So it just pulls away from the rhizomes. It's pretty much completely dead. These ones are a little bit alive, but yeah, just pulls away. All right, get rid of the dead matter. Dig up the cocoa, see what we find. So you can see here, there's a few turmeric rhizomes already coming out. There's actually heaps. I can feel them all. All right, we'll pull this one out. Oh, that's big. Oh, that's so big. Look at that. So I've never grown turmeric before. I don't know what to expect, but you can see, look at that. All the roots and rhizomes on the roots. So I could use these as seed rhizomes. That's cool. I definitely planted this in the wrong season too, so put all that there. I didn't expect it to look like that. I thought they'd just be one rhizome, but I guess that's how they shoot off. Oh, that's a huge clump. Holy moly. That's huge. Look at that. I'll wash that off and give you an idea of what that looks like. What else have we got? Oh, this is great. Well, there's another big clump over here. Oh, look at that. All those new shoots. So I'll reseed all of these. There it is. Hydroponic turmeric. Now I can just reseed all of these bits and I can break this up and you've actually got your turmeric rhizome. Now you can see the original rhizome, it's the older part of this. So these parts here and this one here. And then all of this is new growth come off that. And these are, I guess, seed rhizomes. I'm not familiar with turmeric, so take this all with a grain of salt. Yeah, this is really exciting. So yep, that's another one of the seed pieces that I put in. And this is the new growth here, seed rhizomes. This is a part of the turmeric that I put in that hasn't done so well. It's a new piece that's broken off. There's one of the old rhizomes and the new growth coming off it. Yeah, these are parts of the old turmeric that haven't shot out, so they didn't put out any leaves. I did plant it in the wrong season, I'm pretty sure. Overall, success. So I've got some plans for this system and the plans involve moving it. That's going to present a problem because I'll have to murder a lot of these plants. And I don't particularly like killing plants that are right in the middle of providing fruit for me. I'll be able to save a lot of them, but the plan for this system is I want to make it almost exclusively root vegetable system as well as a citrus system. So I'm going to plant mostly carrots, I'm going to plant some ginger and some garlic, as well as I'm going to replant that turmeric, and then we can get a nice turnover of root vegetables in hydroponics. So exciting stuff to come. Keep an eye on this space. Speaking of root vegetables, this is the potato system. Now, I'm stoked with how this system has turned out, and I'm going to dig up one of these plants and show you the progress. Now, this system started with me seeding the hydroponic chicken fodder system. I also showed you the progress. I think it was 6 days progress, where the potatoes had actually rooted out into the growing media, which was 60-40 cocoa perlite, and have a look at the results. I mean, these are some really healthy potato plants. So without further ado, let's dig one of them up along the length of the stalk of the plant. I haven't even seen what's going on, so this will be as much of a surprise for me as it is for you. So I'm just gonna lift away this mulch from the stem of the plant, and hopefully we'll be able to have a look and see what's going on down here. There's no tubers along the length of the stem, it just goes all the way to the ground. I mean, I don't really know what I was expecting. Let's see if there's any roots. Yeah, I can feel there's a ton of roots going off into that core substrate. You'll have to believe me on this one, but the substrate is really moist and there are a heap of roots protruding out from that potato plant. So I don't really want to damage it too much. I really want to get this experiment full term without interfering too much. So I'm just going to put this mulch back, make sure that it's nice and compacted against that stem. All right. Well, nothing to see here apparently. So let's have a look at the hydroponic wasabi. Okay, so I had to kind of adjust the shading on the hydroponic wasabi. I had added in panda film on the top to get the amount of light down in this shade, and it still wasn't enough. This is one of the benefits of a time-lapse camera. You can actually watch the plants and how they react to their environments across a period of time that is more relatable to us. So I watched the time-lapse camera and the wasabi was drooping the moment the sun came through that shade, even from the sides, and especially in the morning and afternoon. So I've gone and added in panda film to the northeast and northwest sides of this shade, and it pretty much means that there is absolutely no sunlight, even indirect through shade sail, reaching the wasabi at all, and the plants have actually responded rather well to that. I cannot stress how much these plants do not like the sun. It's counterintuitive, really. So I'm just gonna go and lift up this shade. There you go. So they're doing really well. And my time-lapse camera just fell to the ground. The current temperature in here was 22.9 degrees Celsius at 75% humidity. So high humidity, low temperature. The temperature range for wasabi is, I think it's like 5 degrees up to 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. There's varying information on the highest temperature, and some people say that if you get the environmental conditions correct, the temperature doesn't matter. Obviously, when you get above 25, they're gonna not grow as fast. These guys are doing really well in the system that I've got them in. And for a relatively hot climate like mine, I'm pretty happy with how these guys are faring. There's no nutrient issues. The leaves are in perfect condition. There's no stress on the plant. It's actually reacting really well to the system. And you can see if we have a look in here, we've still got new leaf formation happening around the base of the plant here. So this is all really fantastic news. The plants are responding really well to the system. And I think that's from good system design to replicate the environment that they would naturally be in. And that shade has just done wonders for these plants. All right. So let's check the pH and the EC of solution and see what they've been, well, thriving in really. So we've got a pH of 6.7 and an EC of 9.8. And the temperature is 20.7 degrees Celsius. They're the conditions of the nutrient solution, and that nutrient solution is the Campbell's Diamond Special Tea. And that is the same nutrient solution that these lettuce have been living in. They're using the same reservoir. I've actually been surprised. Last time we checked, the EC was at 1.2. So the water and nutrient requirements have been almost equal, which is perfect. I want them to be drinking the water and the nutrients at the same rate. That means I don't have to check it as often. And as the volume in the nutrient tank drops, it means that it's not concentrating EC and doesn't become dilute because they're using more of the nutrients in the water. So this is a really good scenario to be in for me, where I can literally just plant seeds, walk away, and come back and harvest fully grown crops, which is just awesome. So these are the pet water auto refill hydroponic systems that I made, and it works. It's going really well. It's just not as compact and productive as some of the other systems that I've created. So these will be finding a place probably in the corner of the greenhouse to make way for these rain gutter grow systems to sort of take center stage within the greenhouse. And then on that wall, I'm gonna have the system that we're getting to later. But just first of all, I'm just gonna harvest. These are actually pickling cucumbers, and realistically, I've let them go way beyond what I should have let them go. But they'll still be good for salads and stuff, so that's what I'll use them for. So let's just collect them. And there's a couple more down here. I love the greenhouse. No pest damage, perfectly healthy fruit. So the Dutch bucket tomatoes are still going strong. I'm still getting a regular harvest of tomatoes from them. So I'm just eating them as I go now. The amount that I'm getting off them isn't too excessive that I can't keep eating them. And I've just been sun drying them, well, dehydrated drying them to preserve them for longer so that I can stagger the harvest rather than just have a bunch of tomatoes I can't use and have to give away. It never gets old having a hobby reward you like this, where you can just come out, grab a bowl and collect some food. All right, let's move over to the rain gutter grow system with the Hooch buckets. So as you can see, they're going strong. We have got a few buckets here where I've removed dead crowns. There was a dead crown in this one and a dead crown in this one. And I'm fairly certain that was due to the rootstock not being transplanted into the media fast enough, and they just died. These capsicum, I'm pretty sure they're bell capsicum now. rather than jalapenos. I really need to start labeling my plants. It's pure laziness that I don't. So yeah. So a lot of the strawberries are doing fantastically. I've got some really nice new growth on the crowns. I've just been removing any of the flowers at this point in time because I don't really want them to concentrate on flowering. I want them to concentrate on creating more vegetative growth, and then once they're of size and the roots are at a decent size, I'll allow them to flower. As you can see, I've got another infestation here, and I'm going to have to take care of that. I'll spray that in a second. But we've got some really nice capsicum formation, bell capsicum formation, I'm pretty sure, and they're loving the hooch bucket system. We've got another one down here, so that's fantastic. And this is the larger plant, and we've got fruit formation on that one as well. And they're not really showing any signs of stress, really nice leaf growth. So I've been really happy with how these larger plants are faring within that hooch bucket system. So I've just been taking care of pests with pyrethrum. It's only got a 1-day withholding period, so you can pick the vegetables after 1 day once you've sprayed, and this is meant to have a 20-day lasting effect. So I haven't actually found any of these pests before until looking closely, and I do recommend you look closely at the things you value in your garden. And the beauty of using insecticides within a greenhouse is that I won't be affecting any bees because I'll be self-pollinating these plants, so I can spray it directly on the flowers, and I don't have to worry about the outside beneficial insects being harmed by the insecticides that I use within the greenhouse. The only thing I need to worry about is adhering to withholding periods and such for my own health. So it's now time to talk about the new round pipe hooch adapter design. So this design was created specifically to fit a 100mm round pipe. So the actual diameter that I've made these is 115 to give you a little bit of wiggle room. It fits into, and then on top of that adapter, you can place a bucket or a pot or anything that you want really that needs support on the ground. The two legs are actually slightly longer than the height of the pipe. So when this is placed on the ground, the bucket is supported from below. So theoretically, you could have this pipe lying on the ground and this bucket wouldn't be resting on the pipe at all. You would then glue the adapter to your pot, somewhat like this. It then becomes one rigid item, and you can just move them around your garden as you please. Now, the beauty of this print at full size being to suit a 100mm pipe is that that actually works perfectly into a percentage scale. So if you had a 90mm pipe, you would just take the file and print it scaled down to 90% of original size. So if you have 90mm round pipe systems, you can still use this 100mm design. All you have to do is scale it down in your slicer settings and then print it at 90%, because that will then fit a 90mm pipe as the diameter scales perfectly down. It also means for those viewers in the US or in other parts of the world that use the imperial system, you can take your however many inch round pipe and convert that many inches into millimeters, and then just scale the 100%, 100mm down to the amount of millimeters that your pipe converts to, and it is applicable across all units of measurement. So these round hooch adapters are actually universal in the sense that if you can get your hands on round PVC pipe, you can use these print files. As usual, these print files will be available immediately following the release of this video on my Patreon. So if you want access to these print files, head over to my Patreon and you can download them and print them yourself for your round pipe systems. So last episode I asked you what you wanted to see over in this side of the greenhouse, whether it would be Dutch buckets or another rain gutter grow system with new designs, and I listened. It was overwhelmingly rain gutter grow system with new designs. So I sat down on a computer and I punched these out, and now you're gonna get it. So now I'm going to go about creating a rain gutter grow system with the 100mm or 90mm round pipe. I might use 90mm because then I can just use all of the excess 90mm that already exists, that I've already made, so that I can reuse and recycle. So I'll print more of these, but at 90% of the size, and then I can go about creating a round pipe rain gutter grow system, trellised tomato system. That will be its own video. I look forward to sharing it with you in the future. I'm also playing around with different design ideas for the end caps for that system as well. So in addition to the end caps for this square system that I've created in the past, I'm actually going to come up with scalable end caps that you can print for your round pipe rain gutter grow systems that incorporate an area for that float valve to be plugged in, as well as a drain on the other side, so that you don't need to go and purchase a bunch of fittings that, as far as I'm concerned, really overpriced. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hoochos. Oh shit. I hope you like the new design. I had a real good time creating it. I love creating this stuff. It's actually a ton of fun to do, and I'd highly recommend you get into it if you have the inclination. I look forward to seeing what you guys can do with these systems. If you have actually printed the Hooch buckets or the Hooch adapters, or if you do decide to print these round pipe Hooch adapters, I really enjoy seeing what you guys come up with in the creation of your hydroponic systems. And even if you just want to show off the hydroponic system that you've created from your own inspiration or whatever, head over to the Reddit community or Facebook group, whichever is your preference. There's a ton of people on there that are super passionate about the same thing that you're super passionate about, and they're sharing their systems, their ideas, and we'd love to see yours. So, happy hydroponicking. I'll see you next time on Hoochos.